Hi everyone, welcome back to the Power Leader podcast. There are moments in history when the world quietly shifts beneath our feet, not with explosions, not with headlines, but with policy, strategy, and the recalibration of power. Cybersecurity is no longer a technical discipline. It is no longer a compliance checkbox. It is no longer something executives can delegate and forget. Cybersecurity has become the architecture of national stability, the backbone of economic continuity, and the front line of geopolitical conflict. And right now, the United States is redrawing the map. But here is the truth most leaders avoid. Most organizations are not ready, not because of technology, but because of leadership. In March 2026, the White House released a new national cyber strategy and executive order that fundamentally reframes how the United States will confront cybercrime, fraud, and predatory schemes. This strategy is not incremental, it is transformational. It declares cybercrime is now a national security threat. Transnational criminal organizations are treated as hostile network. The US will use offensive and defensive cyber operations to disrupt them. The private sector is now a strategic partner. Regulations will be streamlined, but expectation will rise. Critical infrastructure must be hardened. Emerging technologies, AI, quantum, advanced computing are national assets. This is not about compliance. This is about sovereignty. And it demands a level of leadership maturity most organizations have never built. The accompanying executive order is even more direct. It mandates a 120-day interagency action plan to dismantle cybercrime networks, a new national operational cell to coordinate federal disruptions, expanded scam center strike force operations, a victim restoration program using seized assets, diplomatic and economic pressure on nations harboring cybercriminals, deepened collaboration with the state, local, tribal, and territorial governments, real-time operational integration with the private sector. This is the US government saying, we are done playing defense. But here is the part leaders must hear. If your organization is fragmented, immature, and poorly governed, you will not survive this new era. Across the Atlantic, the EU's NIS2 directive is reshaping the landscape with sharper teeth. NIS2 expands regulation to 18 sectors, imposes strict incident reporting timelines, mandates supply chain governance, requires enterprise-wide security controls, introduces personal liability for executives. Let me say that again. Personal liability. Europe is making it clear cybersecurity is a fiduciary duty, and the United States is moving in the same direction, not through penalties, but through expectations, partnership, and national strategy. Two continents, two approaches, one message. Leadership must evolve. CISA's executive order and the zero trust maturity model add another layer of clarity. Zero trust is no longer optional. Identity is the new perimeter. Continuous verification is the new normal. Federal networks must modernize, and so must you. Software supply chains must be secured end to end. Logging, telemetry, and detection must be real time and actionable. This is not a technical model, it is a governance model. Zero trust is not about technology, it is about discipline. It is about leaders who understand that trust is not a control, it is a vulnerability. Now, let's talk about the part that makes people uncomfortable. Because the greatest cyber risk inside most organizations is not the threat actor. It is not the technology stack. It is not the budget. It is leadership immaturity. Here is what that looks like. Fragmented system that reveals fragmented leadership. Arbitrary prioritization that destroys organizations because it cannot articulate what matters. Ownership gaps that signals governance collapse. Visibility without true governance is just a prettier version of chaos. Mixed granularity creates strategic confusion. Let me be direct. This kind of leadership cannot protect your organization. It cannot protect your customers. It cannot protect your reputation. It cannot protect your future. And in the new cyber order, it will not protect your job. If you are a CEO, a board member, or a senior executive, you must rethink your long-term strategy and rebuild your organization for resilience because the threats have evolved, the regulations have evolved, the nation has evolved, and the leadership must evolve with it. We are entering a new era, one where nations are rewriting strategy, one where criminals operate like corporations, one where technology accelerates faster than governance, one where leaders must choose between maturity and irrelevance. But here is the opportunity. Leaders who rise now, leaders who build unified operating models, who establish real governance, who embrace zero trust, who understand NIS2, who partner with the federal agencies, who build systems that ensure those leaders will define the next decade. Not because they avoided risk, but because they built organizations strong enough to withstand it. If your organization is ready for real transformation, not the theater drama dashboards, not the illusion of strategy, not the surface level success, but the kind of end-to-end cybersecurity architecture that can only be built by someone with a technical depth, business acumen, and a true cross-domain mastery, and the long-term vision, then it's time to bring in leadership that has actually built resilient systems and cultures before, not those who only perform the role on paper. This is your moment. This is your mandate. This is the time for you to decide what legacy your chief executive officer role to leave behind. Do you want to build a culture rooted in accountability, clarity, security, systemic and innovative, psychologically safe and value-driven? Do you want to build systems that scale without losing identity? This is your movement, and the world is watching. This is the Power Leader podcast, and signing off, Dia.